From the Kia Hyundai channel, welcome to our live video series. Today we are taking a close look at the Kia Soul. Now, of course, the Kia Soul in this generation has been around since 2020, and I still think it's a great buy, but it's not going to get the hype, and it may not even get the hype from Kia this year. So let's talk about why it's a great buy and why it may be right for you in this video. Today, of course, we're live every day. I'm having fun here. We go live every single weekday at 2 o'clock. If you just want the content of this video and you're not live with us, you can skip ahead to the 3-minute mark, which is where we'll start with news and notes we'll start with the content of this. In the meantime, we'll do news and notes. And I'm struggling today. It's a long weekend, and I had one day off, and here we go. All right, if you want to learn how to join us, I'm going to show you that now. If not, just skip ahead to that 3-minute mark. That'll be the good part. All right, how to join us live. Right here, if you look at our channel here, you can see that we have sort of a standard video there. If you refresh the page at exactly 2 o'clock Eastern time, you will see our live video come up over there. So we're going to click into that live video just like that, and as we do that, you're going to watch a quick ad. We all know that most of you are going to skip the ad, but it's okay if you want to watch the ad. Feel free to, if you're going to watch an ad today, watch the one on our videos. All right. So we put up a video this morning. Again, we committed to doing this every single time at Brantford Kia here. We have a number of vehicles that are coming into Brantford Kia, and they are unsold, but they're in delivery. So what that can do is if you buy it off of that list, you will see, you will be able to save some time. You won't have to wait until, whenever it's supposed to show up, you can get one that's in transit or scheduled to be built and coming out. So look for that video. I did it with Gabby this morning. She's helping us out. She might help us out some more. So we'll do that. Hello from California. Hello from California. I'd like to go back there. It is raining and cold here. Well, not that cold, but not nice. So we did that video this morning. News and notes. I'm still waiting on EV6s. And the Ioniq 5, the top trim of both cars, should be here very soon. So there's a lot to figure out there when they show up, but we will have those vehicles here. We will do them, and it will be very soon. Somebody says, where's Gabby? She did our video earlier. She's not going to be in our live videos yet, so we're breaking her in slowly, but we'll put her in a few more probably. And so we'll do that. So again, EV6, Ioniq 5, those vehicles are definitely coming. Could be any day, could be any week. I don't really know for sure, but we're trying to figure that out. Hello from Manitoba as well. Cool, we had Nova Scotia just before I started, Manitoba, California. There we go. All right, somebody says, been driving a Soul EX for about a week. Perfect, this is a video for you. I got 30 seconds more to kill before that 3-minute mark. I have no idea what I'm going to say, so do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button. We've got a bunch more changes coming to this channel to hopefully be better serving you guys soon. So we've been talking about them behind the scenes for a while now, but we'll be able to start introducing them to you in the coming little while. So that's coming up as well. Hit the like button if you're a regular. If you're not a regular, I'll try to earn your like through this video. And do me a favor, remember to hit the like button if I get to something that you do like. All right, one of our regulars just said, don't forget the keys, and I totally forgot the keys. This is why I love our people here. We have a nice little community, and they know me. Just go. Oh, man. All right. Let's flip the camera around here. All right. This is the 2022 Kia Soul EX model. As you guys know, I happen to drive a Kia Soul. I'm a fan of the Kia Soul. Mine happens to be electric. Today, we're looking at the gasoline model. And the EX model has a little window sticker here, which we have not in the car yet. $23,195 is MSRP here in Canada. $25,340 with the freight. And that's what we sell it for. We don't mark up over here, so that's helpful. So why would you want to buy a Soul? There's 100 reasons to buy a Soul. Very first thing is, for the size inside of this car, it's a very short car, easy to drive. That's something that people kind of like. It has that very much of a SUV feeling to it, but it is a compact car. And you can tell it's a compact car because the engine and transmission is shared between this and the Forte and the Seltos. So it kind of bridges the gap between the Seltos and something like the Kia Forte. So like I said, shared engine, shared transmission, decent fuel economy. Obviously the Forte is a little bit better, and that's down to aerodynamics. The box is hard to make super aerodynamic, but it's pretty good. 8.5 cities, 7 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway, and very drivable car. So let's take a look at our key. This one right here, because it's an EX model, it is sort of the jackknife style key. If you step up a trim line or so, you can get a push button start. Push button start, which would have remote start on the key fob. This one you still have to pull the key out of your pocket, but it is just a nice little key fob in your pocket, nice and easy to put in there. And you've got the hold button here. So let's just talk about to clear up one little misconception with this. Because this is not a powered trunk, on our hatchbacks, you'll have a hold button here. If the car was locked, and you held down this hold button, all that would do is unlock the trunk. On this particular car, it is my advice, and you don't have to take my advice, but it is my advice to unlock all the doors using the unlock button rather than just the trunk. Because if you unlock just the trunk and you don't have a push button start car, it doesn't have a way, it's not a proximity key. What that means is if you unlock just the trunk, open it up, and you happen to drop this key in the car, if you slam the trunk shut, the car would be shut, and that's why you don't really want to use this button. Now, if you have a proximity key, so a push button start key without the jackknife style key, then it's much harder to lock your key in the car and it won't lock on you, and that's something that's good to have. So I say it won't lock on you. What I really mean is it shouldn't lock on you. I think you could probably do it, but it's hard to do. All right, so when we talk about the EX model, different size wheels than some of the other ones and different headlights. We'll get to those in a second. Let's start inside the vehicle and we'll go there first. All right, not the cleanest car, I do admit that. That's sometimes how we do things around here. All right, biggest thing you're gonna notice about a Kia Soul is it has a very, very unique driving position. And it's kind of hard to explain because it doesn't compare well to other vehicles. The Seltos is a little taller. The Forte is definitely lower. This is a seating position that people really like when they get in because it seems to be just the right height. The doors are nice and square here, and that makes it very easy to get in and out. Fairly wide door opening, and then you don't see it on camera, but most cars, this pillar kind of curls both towards me, coming in towards the camera here, and also sort of curls in the roof line. And that creates a feeling from visually of much less space. So hopping in a mid-size pickup truck is very similar to sitting in a Kia Soul when it comes to where this pillar is related to where your head is. So considering this is a much smaller vehicle, you have this illusion of space around you, and you sit really, fairly tall in the car, but not so high they have to climb up to it, and not so low that you get down to it. And then the seating position is hard to show here, but I'll try to get my legs in here. You can see my legs go essentially down to the gas pedal instead of out to the gas pedal. That little bit of difference in angle makes a huge difference in overall comfort, and it's a very square sitting car. And I'm someone who has a bit of a funny back, and my back can have issues. This car is always comfortable for me. Whether you're older, whether you're younger, it is a car that works very well and it's positioned very well. So the number one feature in this car is really the space where you're spending the most time is something that is very difficult to show in a video, but it is worth considering. All right, because it's a key start car, let's turn the car to the on position, and then we're gonna turn the camera around here and show you what you get in the dash. Now, because this is an EX model, it's not gonna have all the features that you could have on higher trim levels. It does have low fuel right now, 7 kilometers till we're empty. Somebody better take care of that. You can see though, you do have a number of features in here that are basically the same as the higher trim level. So you've got your cars in park, you got 11 degrees Celsius inside here, which is actually a little bit warmer, 26 kilometers on the car, and this is your lane keeping display screen. So lane keeping display, we can turn that on or off using a button down to my left. Lane keeping means that you have a camera up over here. Somebody says funny back when it's not causing you grief. Yeah. It's not funny when it's bothering me, that's for sure. Anyways, the camera over here, what that does is that can look out in front of the car, and it can see the lane markers on either side of the car, and it can help keep you centered in those lanes with an active lane keeping assist. Now, it does not have lane follow assist yet in the Kia Soul, but the lane keeping with an active assist does a pretty good job of keeping you relatively centered and safe in the lines. And the reason that's good is because someone like you or me are eventually going to start playing with this. And to do that, on any car, you're going to take your eyes off the road. And the nice thing is having a car that can catch you and keep you centered in your lane can prevent accidents. It's a great safety feature. And the other thing that camera in front does is it gives you forward collision avoidance. So it can see things like vehicles in front of you. And if you're not paying attention, the vehicle is capable of stopping for you. I say capable because it is your responsibility to keep control of this car. Do not test the system. Same way you wouldn't want to test an airbag, right? But it's capable of avoiding collisions, it's capable of minimizing collisions, and that's all based on that camera in the front. So you have that system in this car, and it's a really nice feature to have. Speedometer, tachometer, easy to read, simple stuff, and you've got all kinds of information in here. So if you just wanted a digital speedometer, you can have that there, which is nice and easy to read. Ignore fuel efficiency numbers. We showed the real numbers earlier, but of course this car's been idling a lot. But you can see various little bar graph here going across, which will give you an, oops, let me just zoom in here. It will give you an active bar graph, so the real-time fuel economy as well as your average fuel economy. And again, this is sitting high because this car's been idling around the dealership, so don't worry about that being the real number. The other thing that I think people forget on this car is this has been upgraded. Now, many of you do not like to have that screen set above on a sort of an iPad style pad above. The Forte has that. Many of our cars have that. If you like to have the screen built into the dash, if that's your personal style choice, the Soul has that. And in this system is actually quite a bit. So you tap into here for a second, you're going to notice you have HD radio. That, of course, gives you full HD stereo system. You also notice there's a media button over here. When we hit the media button, you can see you can have FM or AM, Bluetooth streaming audio. You can put USB music on a stick. You also have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So Android Auto and Apple CarPlay on this car are wireless. You don't get wireless Android Auto or wireless Apple CarPlay on something like a Kia Stinger or something like a Kia Telluride. You do get it on a Soul with the 8-inch screen. The 10-inch screen is actually a little bit different. So it does not get on the 10-inch screen, but on this one it does. So you have wireless ways to connect, and even Bluetooth audio on an iPhone or something like that. If you have Apple Music or something like that, it takes over the screen and gives you some nice, good detail there. So it's kind of a nice little system, nice little stereo system in there. And of course, that HD radio is nice to have. Come back to the home screen here. There's that Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. What I like to do with that system is use this button over here, and when we touch that button, it'll allow us to set up what that button does. There's one on the steering wheel as well that we can use, or we can set the mode button on the steering wheel to do different things. But this one, phone projection, would be your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. And quiet mode, you can do all kinds of things here and cycle through the system there. Bluetooth audio, if you want to pull that up. So again, I like to set up to the phone projection right there. And while we're at it, why don't we look at what the mode button does on the steering wheel. So a lot of us have always used this mode button to cycle through every possible function in the car. But let's say you are never going to have Bluetooth audio, or let's say phone projection up, or whatever you want. You can, or maybe you never listen to AM radio. You can not check the AM, and you can have the mode button switch through various things, but skip your USB or skip AM radio. So it just goes through the things you want. So you can set up some custom buttons there. And like I said, the one I like to set this star for right here is the phone projection, which is your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. And that means you have navigation right through here in the most up-to-date maps in the world, which are Google Maps or Apple Maps. So very good navigation systems built in through your phone. And when you have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay and it's wireless, you're going to want a place to charge your phone. Well, I don't want to have to plug in a wire to charge my phone, and you don't have to here. Throw your phone down here, and it is wireless phone charging just by sitting in this special pad right there. So even on this EX model, wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, and then you get the wireless phone charging down here as well. 12-volt system down here, USB there and there. The outside ones have little doors. You got a little pocket right there as well. The gear shift here is an IVT transmission. That works very well for an economy car. It does a good job of getting good fuel efficiency on this car and giving some pretty decent performance. If you want to have some more fun, you can tap it this way and choose your own gears, or you can switch through the drive modes, and there's only two on the Kia Soul. There is a normal mode and a sport mode. Normal there, sport there, and that's, in my mind, all you need. So that works well in the Soul here. And of course, we also have rump roasters. And when there's rump roasters to keep your butt warm, you also want to keep your fingers warm, and you have a steering wheel heater as well. So just good features overall. While we're looking at the gear shift here, let's throw in reverse. As we do that, we can take a look at the backup camera, and it is a nice clear backup camera. And you can see the colors are actually reproduced very well as well. As I turn the wheel, the red and the yellow follows where I'm going. And all you're going to do when you're backing up into a spot is line up these blue lines with the side of the parking the parking lines, the parking spot that you're in. They line up perfectly with that, and you know you will be perfectly close. Will it charge with an OtterBox case? That's a great question with the wireless charging. In general, yes. Some of those thicker OtterBox cases, not so much. So generally speaking, the thinner cases, they're still strong but thin. They work quite well. My phone charges in a case every day on my system, so it will work fine. And I have seen some OtterBox cases as well. If they were really, really thick OtterBox cases, then in that case, your phone won't charge there. While we're looking at the backup camera, let's just show you a couple options here. You can change into the brightness in the daylight, the brightness at night, the contrast. You can change all those things if you want. The other thing you can do is, if I can find it, no, you can't do it anymore. I thought you used to be able to look straight down at the camera, but you can't do that anymore. Or if you can, I'm not looking at the right spot. One option to have in this car is to keep the backup camera on for a couple seconds. So if you've backed in a parking spot and then you go forward, you can keep it on at slow speeds as you're moving forward, just to see, oh, I'm going to creep forward until the line's right there, and then we're good. So you can keep that on as well. So good system there. Down here, because it's an EX model, you don't have the dual zone automatic climate control. You just have the manual climate system control. And I think that works fine. Again, when you're talking a lower or mid-level trim, you have to make some compromises. And in this car, I think they make the right compromises to give you something that's easy to use and clear, but also gives you things like that wireless phone charging, heated seats, heated steering wheel. All right, got my heated seats on still. I'm going to keep them on. I already feel them, of course, because, of course, it is cloth on here. All right, taking a look over at the steering wheel. The Soul is the only car that we have with different style buttons. Most cars have the same exact buttons, but this one isn't. So you have your menu buttons here, your cruise control around the outside, and of course on this side is all of your audio controls. You can speak to your car or your phone like that. You do have headlights and fog lights on this car, so you can see the fog lights are right there. We're going to take a look at them in a little bit here in a second. And when we talk safety features, we talked about that lane keeping assist. We also have the blind spot detection, which you can kind of see right over here. When someone's in your blind spot, that will light up orange and warn you that someone's there. It will beep at you if you try to signal and they're there, which just gives you an extra level of protection when you're turning. All right, we are only 15 and a half minutes in. We're about halfway through this video. Do me a favor, guys. I'm going to go out and take your questions now. I saw a bunch coming through. Got about 63 people on, 38 likes so far. So let's aim for 60 likes in this video. We'll jump over and go take questions. And do me a favor, actually, let's all hit the like button together if you want. 3, 2, 1. Hit the like button. We'll see a bunch of people join us at the end. All right. Okay, so we've got some questions come in. I'm going to take them. Let me jump over to my computer, and we'll be able to read them. Oh, my light just turned off. Come on, light, turn on again. My nemesis, as our friends, our regulars call it. Hey, there we go. It worked. All right. All right, let me just take your questions here. Rump roasters are on bake all the time. Love it. You bet they are. Yeah, keep them on nice and warm. Okay, let me just scroll up here a little bit. Very rumory up front. Yes, it is. Netherlands is here. That's sweet. Somebody's been watching for a long time. They're on for the first time. That's pretty cool. Okay, this is the exact one somebody has, except theirs is red. Walked out of a Texas Kia dealership yesterday because of $2,000 markup over the sticker. I'm not a fan of that. We don't do that here. So there's that. Hello from Chile, Manitoba. All right. Where are we here? That's not low on fuel. It's running on hopes and dreams. Yeah, that's true. 7 kilometers. That's pretty low. Okay. Kia has it backwards when it comes to Apple Play and Android Auto. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. By that, you mean the larger screens. In other words, the cars that people pay more for do not have wireless on the large screens, but the smaller screens, the 8-inch screens, they do have wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, and I don't know. Are you able to start the car remotely? Not on this trim line from the factory. Now, you can add a remote start to the system. If you had the push button start on this car, there would be a little button right here that could remote start the car, and if you move up again to something with Kia Connect and Uvo Intelligence. It's the same system that they're sort of half changing the name there. Either one of those you can start it from your cell phone as well. So good question there. Oops, I just skipped through a whole bunch of questions here. Oh, somebody's listing some auto boxes there. I'm not sure which ones work and which ones don't with that. So there's that. Somebody says they don't like the steering wheel buttons in the Kia and Hyundai thing. So one thing I will say is that driving different cars. I used to review cars for a living, and when you switch from car to car and you have the steering wheels and different buttons, what seems difficult to understand from the start becomes very familiar to you once it's your own car, right? For car reviewers, they have to learn new things every week. Once you have it as your own car, I think it works quite well. I will say my Hyundai ones are different than my Kia Soul ones, and sometimes it takes me a second to get used to which one's which, but they are easy to do as well there. So, okay. Where are we here? Is a 2023 Kia Soul receiving a facelift? I don't have any information on the 2023 Kia Soul. I finally just got a preliminary sheet on the 2023 Kia Seltos, which I haven't looked at yet because of the long weekend. So I will look at that, but I don't believe this 2023 is having a facelift yet. But I could be wrong about that. I haven't seen that. So again, I tend to try to speak on official stuff. Okay, I think that's it for there. Let's come back to these questions in a second. And somebody says, I have one and I love it. Is the EV still a thing for the Soul? Yes, it is. I drive one. They still make it this year in Canada. Keep in mind, in the United States, they don't have the Kia Soul EV. They just have the Niro and the new EV6. We'll probably be throwing them all in here. The Niro, the EV6, and the Kia Soul in the future. All right, let's jump back into the rear seat of this car. This is another huge selling point of this car. Now, when you look at this car, one thing to keep in mind is it is fairly short. It has a nice long wheelbase. Long wheelbase is good for a good riding vehicle, like a larger car. Oh boy, struggling here. But you do have a fairly short overall car. Easy to park, very comfortable, but usually compact cars are not that roomy. Now, this seat is set to where I needed it as a 6-footer. So as a 6-footer sitting behind a 6-footer, what is this car like? Well, I can tell you, it's excellent, really excellent. So my back is on a nice comfortable angle. I almost feel like I'm a little bit reclined. The back doesn't have adjustable recline, but it is just a little bit further. Sometimes you're fairly upright. This is nice and reclined, and it's good. Now, again, I'm 6 feet tall in the back of a compact vehicle, and I have tons of headroom, but I also have tons of legroom. Like, we're talking like almost Telluride levels of legroom here in a small compact vehicle, and that makes a lot of sense. So high praise for this car indeed. You do have a cup holder, which I can pull down here in the armrest, so dual cup holders there. You have bottle holders in the door. Higher trim levels of this car do have heated rear seats, the seat bottom only. They make one little mistake here that I think they should do. They do have a nice little pocket here, which I like. They have plastic back seats, which can be wiped clean with a damp cloth, which I like, especially if you have kids. They have no vent here, which it is what it is. They have a USB port there, but they don't have a pocket here. So they lose marks from me for not having a pocket there, even though they have a pocket there. So that's a good thing. But again, front seat, that really unique driving position that's extremely comfortable, quite commanding view of the road, and good visibility all around the car because they have those square windows, that kind of thing. And then you also still have the same thing behind. So a 6-footer, I'm a 6-footer, sitting behind a 6-footer, and you've got this much space. So reason I like this car is when we bought it for ourselves, my son, I assume he's gonna probably outgrow me. When he's full grown, I don't have any issues about him fitting behind me even. It's a very comfortable car. You could drive across the country in this car and be comfortable even with larger passengers. So again, another reason for it might be popular as maybe a first car for college kids. You could fit adults in there, including 5 adults, no big deal. Now let's check out the trunk. Pop open the back here. Would I be able to add a remote start to this model? Yes, you would, absolutely. So, Kia Soul, some people seem to think it has a smaller trunk. Now, again, if you buy something like a Kia Forte or something like that, you're going to have a longer trunk floor here. This is not a small trunk for this type of car, but it is a good size, it's a normal size trunk. Now, what is nice here is you can take this panel here, lift it up, you can store your gym clothes underneath there, but what I like to do is pull this back, let it drop down, push it back in there, and because this is a brand new car, have to tweak a little bit, that those tools in that spare tire area are not perfectly where they should be, but you gain a lot of space here, and when you do that, you really gain the ability to stick something large in the trunk, even with the seats up. So seats can be folded down. If they fold them down, you want to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy a dishwasher, no problem. You can do that. Fold those seats down. What you may be surprised, though, is how much teddy bear space there is. Now, we measure things in teddy bear space here, and as you can see right here, Teddy is super comfortable. There's a lot of height above him. So if you're stacking boxes or stacking something in the trunk, you've got a ton of space. Teddy is quite comfortable back there. And because you can lower that floor, you really keep Teddy's belly down instead of up near that bottom of that center headrest there where it would be otherwise. So really good sized trunk as long as you understand that that floor can lower. And like I said, if you're going camping with this car, for 4 people, you're going to be squishing a lot of stuff in the trunk there. Let's not kid ourselves. But for 2 people, if you can fold the seats down, you have mid-size SUV kind of space as far as trunk space, like large SUV space when you fold the 2 seats down with all the cargo space. So very good trunk space for the size of the car, and I think that matters. There is a light back here, and right below that light is a 12-volt port as well. So you can put a dash cam back there. You can put a 12-volt cooler. Lots of things you can do with that space. Other thing I like is there's a handle here. This trunk space, I don't talk a lot about trunk lids, but for smaller cars, sometimes they used to, like the Kia Rondo, for instance, didn't have the greatest headroom space. So again, 6 feet with shoes on here, and I'm clearing that space, no big deal. And to reach it, if you can't reach it, you do have a handle here. The reason I like this handle is instead of doing this and putting my hands here on the paint and scratching it off in the salt and the snow, I can just close it from the inside here. No problem with that handle the whole way down, and a nice clean look. We're gonna take a look at lighting right now and just some general exterior styling of the car here. You do have the shark fin antenna up there, which you guys seem to like quite a bit. Body colored door handles as well, body colored mirrors. Let's get the headlights on. Oh, I gotta put the key in for a second. Bear with me for a second as we do that. One thing about the Kia Soul with the push button start, if you have the push button start, it is actually down here, which is kind of a convenient different thing instead of buried where you can't see it. So keys in the car now. It's warning us that there's low fuel. That's why it's beeping out. So we got the headlights and fog lights on. So when you buy this car, there are a few different ways to get lighting in this car. This is the EX. The LX model would have headlights down here, but they would be kind of like filling that whole area. These ones have projector beam headlights. This is an upgrade over the base model. Projector beam headlights are the way to go. And then you have these nice LED lights, which are actually quite bright in there, and an LED marker light there. So again, these lights here, nice and bright, nice sharp cutoff, and then you have fog lights down here. Now, as you move up the trim lines, first of all, lower trim lines are not going to get the fog lights. This whole thing fills out. Instead of a projector beam light, you just have a regular light. But as you move up trim lines, you're going to lose fog lights there. You're going to gain an LED signal here and an LED fog light right there. And then these, which are currently your signal lights, become your headlights, LED headlights, and things change out. So you have a different face down here on this car. Let me just turn the signal lights on for a second so you can sort of see how they work. We do have signal lights in the mirrors right there, which are nice. And again, like I said, different face here with the signal lights there. They are non-LED here, one trim up, and they would be LED down in this area. So different face, but again, still get the fog lights, the headlights. You can see here, oh, come on camera, you can do it. You can see over here, we can get there, there we go. Nice sharp cutoff for the headlights, so still very good headlights, nice upgrade. And as you come back here, you can still see that blinking light right there. And you have signal lights there. Now, higher end Kia Souls have a LED sort of trim light around the outside, around the perimeter of this shape here, and the brake lights fill in LEDs inside. These are standard bulbs, not LED bulbs, but they still fill that space quite nicely and give it a fairly modern look. And again, this is a fairly modern car that competes with a lot of small crossovers at a better price with good safety features, better comfort, and great fuel efficiencies. So, why are we talking about it and Kia might not be talking about it? Well, Kia is expecting to, and they rightly will, sell a lot more Kia Seltos than they will Kia Souls. And if you need all-wheel drive, Seltos is the way to go. If you don't need all-wheel drive, the Seltos may be an option for you because it is available in a front-wheel drive car, but I think the Soul should be on your list as well. The Soul is an excellent car for the class. So let's jump back into your questions here, see if I'm missing anything here. And we'll do our best. Somebody asked, what's miles per gallon? We don't do miles per gallon here. We do liters per 100 kilometers. 8.5 city, 7 liters per 100 kilometers. I don't know if that's mirror imaged or not, but 8.5 and 7 liters per 100 kilometers right there. Okay. All right. Are you able to, oh, sorry, missed it here. Let me start at the bottom. Oh, somebody's writing in French. And do we sell Genesis, also a brand for Kia? We do not. So I won't respond to you in French, but I think I read that correctly. Santa Cruz. Somebody's asking about something about the Santa Cruz. If it's an off-topic car, just give me a second. We'll get to that off-topic car in a second. We're still looking for those 60 likes, so about 7 more people to give us some likes. Let's see if we can get there. No LED here in the U.S. except on the turbo. Oh, interesting. So the U.S. is a little different with the turbo. All right. You guys are talking amongst yourselves here, so I don't see a ton of questions. For the 16-inch tires on the Soul in the U.S., I would need to buy the LX. The LX is a good deal with the technology package. If you could find a dealer like this one. There we go. Push button ignition is a must if you, in my book, it's like self-wind vacuum. Once you have, you don't know what, yeah. So I do like push button start as well. I don't know if it's a must, but it is what it is. Did you get it from the dealership or, oh, you guys are talking, so, okay, you guys are having a conversation here. I don't mind you guys have a conversation, but just bear with me because I can't read it. Somebody says they're easy to steal. No, they're not. Going on. You guys had a remote starter, so we talked about that. Okay, let me just see if there's any questions in here. Is there a do I recommend certain Genesis? Oh man, I don't recommend any cars. What I'm really good at is telling you what the cars are all about. I'm answering the French question again here. I'm really good at telling you what the cars are all about. I'm not great at telling you what's best for you because, for instance, my car, I drive the Hyundai Santa Cruz. My wife would never buy it. We're in the exact same life stage. We have the exact same family. We do the exact same vacations. She wouldn't buy that and I would. So I just tell you what it is and then you guys decide if it's best for you. I have an X-Line, I love it, but it doesn't do well in the snow. If you don't think it does well in the snow, it does have the ground clearance, which is good. I do recommend winter tires. So winter tires are good. Oh, we're still writing in French. Eleanor, you're killing me here. I forgot what that one word means. So she asked where to find Genesis. Oh, where do I find them? Where can you find them? You just go online. That's the best place to search. I'm not connected with any Genesis dealers, so I'm not going to recommend anyone. All right, I had a 2021 K5 GT line and now 2022 Forte GT. Forte GT is so much better with the ambient lighting. Yes, the Forte GT had ambient lighting. It doesn't anymore. That's something they changed. The Soul's a great car, 2017 EV model, room's amazing. I can fit a full-size bicycle in it without taking the wheels off. That's the other thing, when we talked about that luggage size, yeah, you can fit a full-size bicycle back here. There's a lot of things you can do. Does it have a dedicated snow mode like the Venue does? It doesn't have a dedicated snow mode. Now, I will say the Venue, is a smaller car and has a little bit less power. And I think the snow mode's helpful. I don't feel like this needs a snow mode. I feel, again, I throw winter tires on mine and I drive a EV, but I have driven these, of course, at the dealership all over the place. Again, to me, winter tires are a better value than all-wheel drive systems. Both are great, right? But if you do a lot of driving in the winter and you want this thing to perform great, throw winter tires on. I don't think you'll have any issue with that too. Somebody says he's not a fan of the Venue. Yeah, the Soul is a class up from the Venue. I will say the Venue is a great bargain if you're looking at something like a Kia Rio. You should cross shop it. But I think once you're getting into the Kia Soul, you're a step above in car, and that's sort of the thing to do. All right, I think we're gonna leave it there, guys. So we only hit 57 likes. If there's 3 of you that will think I've earned your like today, go ahead and hit that, and we'll go on there. We're going French and English here. What is the higher horsepower for the Kia Soul? The Kia Soul has 147 horsepower, whereas the Venue, I forgot now, 100. Oh man, sorry, I don't have the Venue spec just memorized in the top of my head right now, but the Venue is a little less horsepower and it's a little bit smaller car, so a little bit different there. I'm doing my best with Eleanor's French here, but on live videos, that scares me, so I'll do my best. Anyways, so what we're doing next week. Tomorrow, I haven't got a plan. We're still going to swap any plan we have if the EV6 or the Ioniq 5 shows up. The Ioniq 5 in the higher trim lines. We haven't seen that yet, so we're going to have an all-wheel drive version of this car. I've just completed last week a number of training items on that car. So there you go. Venue's 122 horsepower. So just completed a number of training on the EV6 Ioniq 5 type stuff. So I'm going to know more about that car next time we have it in here, and we'll have that. So everything gets thrown out the window if those cars show up. If not, we'll have a sort of regular week, but a lot of stuff coming up the line here. We're heading into March, April, where we start ramping things up quite a bit from our January, February. So stay tuned with us. Make sure you hit subscribe. We've got a lot coming up. And if you want to follow us, you can follow me on Instagram as well. Every morning before I do a video, I post it here. And merci, Eleanor. Thank you. And you can follow us there. So there we go. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you again in the next one.